When we think about powerful Autobot leaders in Transformers, our minds most likely jump to Optimus Prime, or maybe even Grimlock leading the Dinobots. There's a plethora of characters to choose from when thinking about the best of the best from the Cybertronian War, and I believe at the top of that list is Ultra Magnus. In Transformers Skybound, we were introduced to a broken and defeated Magnus who had endured an immense amount of torture. This once great tactician and warrior was saved by his comrade Elita 1 and brought to Earth to recover alongside his Iron Apprentice, RC. This aspect of the comics was expanded on when RC explains the concept of an Iron Apprentice to Carly during Magnus's recovery. Bots will take others under their wings and train them to be warriors who fear nothing on the battlefield. It is a part of not only their clan, but their culture as well. RC is a shining example of an Iron Apprentice. Quick on her feet, deadly in battle, yet tender when the moment calls for it. After Magnus is successfully repaired, we see that the torture he has endured at the hands of Shockwave has taken its toll. His body may be restored from being torn apart piece by piece, but his mind will forever hold the scars of a prisoner of war. Originally, when I did my video on Sparky a long time ago, I really thought that he and Magnus would have spent a lot of time together, given that they are both soldiers suffering from PTSD. But instead, in a move I wasn't anticipating simply because of my own lack of knowledge, Magnus was paired up with, albeit briefly, a character from the G.I. Joe side of the Energon universe, Doc. I'm not going to act like I know who Doc is in the larger ethos of G.I. Joe. I know this is his first appearance in the EU, but I'm sure some context from other continuities would help me out here, but I'm going to leave that type of knowledge to my good friends Carl's Collection and Moonbase 3. Speaking of which, you can hear them educate me on G.I. Joe on the Teletran Tapes podcast. Doc plays a vital role in Magnus's story arc, as the two of them are old soldiers who aren't sure of their place in the world anymore. Doc is a man who's obviously seen his fair share of battles, and as a former medic, now turned chaplain, he's struggling with something even bigger: his faith. Finding out that there's sentient life from another planet, and that life is primarily giant talking robots that can turn into vehicles, would shake any devout believer. After all, I'm pretty sure the Hebrew Bible doesn't have any mention of Cybertron. But perhaps it's not the appearance of the Transformers that shake Doc's faith. Perhaps it's already been called into question as he thinks over his past deeds and questions the validity and morality of the situation unfolding in front of him. But this is a video about Ultra Magnus, so what about him? Well, in issue number 22, Doc helps the Autobot General escape his captors after a change of heart, or maybe more accurately, a divine call to action. The conversation that unfolds between the two is amazing, and I feel like it's best if I just have it read out rather than try to simply recap it in my own words.
Why did you free me?
I was where you were once. A captive. Tortured.
How do you stand now? How do you live?
I have people that need me. They keep me going. Don't you have anyone like that?
Yes. I do.
It's this moment where Ultra Magnus feels the same conviction that Doc did just earlier. Not to a higher power, not to God or any other man, but to themselves. As soldiers, they feel the need to stand up and fight for the ones that keep them going, even when facing impossible odds or staring down the demons of their own past. Originally, I was going to release this video before issue 23 came out as a bit of a refresher on Magnus' story, but the cover for this month's issue made me wait. After all, it's the thumbnail of this video, and so I'd be a fool not to hold off just one more week and include what's happening to Magnus as of late. There's a lot going on in issue 23, and I will fully admit that there was a section in this issue that made me tear up. Magnus returns to find a dying Optimus and says he's always wanted to be like him, but he was always scared. I am strong on the outside, but the inside, I was never brave. But I know how to die, and I can die for Optimus. What an emotionally powerful line. And with that, Magnus draws out an Energon sword and charges into battle against the Decepticons. One of the greatest warriors of Cybertron is standing before his hero, dying, and he claims to be weak. He claims not to be brave, and yet here he is, facing his demons and facing his own death. Ultra Magnus is ready to die for his fellow Autobots, for Earth, and for Optimus Prime. Hey, it's been a while since I've done one of these more casual, unscripted talks after a video, so what's going on exactly? Well, I have 2, maybe 3 things that I wanted to mention, I guess. If you didn't see my community post a few days ago, then originally I talked about this big, huge scale video that was going to be 2 hours plus, where I go back and it's like this retrospective where I recap and review every single issue of Transformers Skybound from issue number 1 all the way through to issue number 24. And it was going to have all these different collaborators. I had all these other Transformers YouTubers who had already signed up and were going to cover different issues, and I was going to hop in and talk to them, and it was just this huge, awesome project, and it kept ballooning and getting bigger and bigger, and soon I found myself writing sections of the script to talk about G.I. Joe and Void Rivals, and I thought, well, maybe I'll just do a retrospective of the last 2 years of the Energon universe, and it was just too much. Look, I like making huge videos. I like putting the work into something grand and something even bigger than what I normally make, but it was just too much. It was a video that really, I don't think had much of a purpose in the world, and it was becoming too monumental, too big, too insurmountable. I have a habit of doing that, thinking in my head, yeah, I can do this, and then getting into these huge tasks and being like, maybe I can't actually climb Mount Everest. Or maybe I can climb Mount Everest, but I don't need to. So that video itself has been put to rest. It's not going to happen, but don't worry. What I've decided to do instead is take characters like I already do. I do character essays from the Energon universe and cover their story, their growth, their kind of character arc through the first 24 issues. I think that's much more manageable, and that's really more within my pre-existing style. So the first one will be for Optimus Prime. It's going to be about his leadership and his growth from issue 1 all the way through issue 24. If you are interested in my thoughts on issues as they come out, then Teletran Tapes is the best place to capture that. This video right now that you're watching is being released on the Wednesday that the issue 23 comes out, August 13th, and it's actually also the day that we're going to be recording the episode of Teletran Tape. So hopefully soon that episode will be out. That's the best way where you can kind of get my immediate thoughts on the issue as it comes out. Lastly, if you enjoy listening to my voice, which if you do, then thank you. You're one of very few. If you enjoy listening to my voice, watching my videos, then I actually have a second channel where I talk about comics just in a very similar way that I talk about them here, just non-Transformers related. So if there is a comic that you really like, or you think, hey, I'd love it if Delta actually talked about this, then go over to my second channel, find a video, watch the video, please, and then leave a comment saying, hey, I really like this comic, I think you should check it out. I can't promise you that I will, but you never know. I really like making those smaller, lower stakes videos over on that channel. It's a fun time, and I think it's a great way to find some new comics outside of Transformers that really have some good stories out there. There's a whole world of comic books out there, and so that's a fun place to kind of branch out from what we do here. Okay, that's all I got. See you guys later.